The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And Mike.
And this is the long-awaited return of the Magic Mike Show, episode 576. Mr. Somich.
Big old we back. Huzzah! How's it going, buddy?
Man,
It's
it's been since December 12th that we last did a show. We had the holidays and then, a couple fires breaking out here in LA and kind of delayed things. So luckily, you and I seem to be okay. The hellscape out here, but otherwise, doing okay. How are you doing? How was your holiday break?
Doing good. Up in New York for a couple weeks. Got to go sledding, so it was nice to see the snow and not live in the snow. So that was pretty sweet. Daughter went down the big hill. She was very excited about that, so that was good. Now we've been back a few weeks. A lot of travel because it's NFL football playoff season, so back and forth to Vegas every week. And it's nice to have you back. We were trying to do this last week, and obviously the fires down there, which I know you obviously firsthand affected by. I've got a bunch of friends in Los Angeles that have been a touch and go couple weeks here. So glad to see that is winding down at this point. And obviously hearts go out to everybody who has lost something in that, because it's as someone who's lost something due to a natural disaster, I know how difficult it can be, especially when trying to figure out how to recover from that. So thoughts out with everybody there. Glad that you're safe and you're doing well, Magic, and excited to get into it. We should talk a little about this because we made the decision to cover the Coast to Coast Pick 5, and we both felt a little icky after we found out the news that came out, specifically with the decoupling down at Gulfstream Park, which, if you don't know, is the reason why they're not running at Hialeah. They're not running at Calder, a couple other places in Florida. So feels like the writing's on the wall. We may not have Gulfstream around for very much longer, Magic.
Yeah, it's unfortunately, I can't say a whole lot because of my other job, other than it really sucks that to see a company that if you Google First Racing, the first thing that pops up is that they're trying to redefine the sport of thoroughbred horse racing. And I'm like, your actions indicate that reinventing means just getting rid of completely, because I shut down Golden Gate and forced Northern California racing to end. It needed to end, it was probably going to end anyways, but for them to just kind of strong everybody. Then they got rid of Laurel Park. They gave that to the Maryland Jockey Club. But now what they're doing with the last two tracks that they have, and threatening the track that if you don't agree to exactly what we want, we could shut you down and not have racing tomorrow, was their quote. That's pretty shitty. It's just a shitty situation for any track, any company to say that to the men and women who work hard every single day to keep the horses going. And in Florida, I mean, you look at the field sizes that Gulfstream has all year long. That's jobs. That's people's lives. I mean, it's and there's a lot of them, right? It's not like Santa Anita, where a lot of times you'll get 5-6 horse fields all the time. So there's a ton of horse flesh down there. So hopefully everything can be remedied in a positive way moving forward. But it's not. So, and we made this decision, as you were saying, Mike. We made this decision 2 days ago. We're like, oh yeah, this will be great. And then the news came out, and I was like, well, it's kind of too late for us to change. We were going to do Fairgrounds, but Fairgrounds looks like they're going to have rain. That's why we're not doing that sequence, because there's a bunch of turf races. So, yeah, not the best situation. But the good news is, I think we're going to give out some winners.
Yeah, I love the sequence. Like, that's the nice part about this. We have the dollar denomination, 15% takeout. So from a horse player's perspective, very good sequence to attack. I know I did my handicapping before the morning lines were out for this. I will just say, if I hit, it's going to pay a lot of money. We'll see if it hits or not, but definitely not. Looking at the chart, it was interesting because when the morning lights came out, I was like, okay, so who is the favorite? Like, where are we going here if the horses I like are 10-1 and 8-1? Like, so it's going to be an interesting 5 races, and the coast to coast, 2 at Gulfstream, 3 at Santa Anita. And it's a good way to try and avoid the weather, like you said. We've always done LeCompte Day on this show the last 4 years. I don't think we've ever hit it when we played LeCompte Day. And we've been rained off before. And this one, again, we're looking at specs. It feels like we're going to be rained off here. So we decided to go a different direction here. And we'll figure out moving forward what the plan is. But a big part of my horse racing life has been Gulfstream. And so it would be a damn shame if anything happened to Gulfstream, because it has been a very fun track over the years to be able to play. Love the mandatory payouts there when you get those monster pools. Love the pick 5s. And I love me some Florida Derby. Some of my favorite Kentucky Prep moments are down at Gulfstream Park as well. Looking at you, Maish. So I'm bummed that this is coming down, but hopefully cooler heads can prevail. We can figure something else out.
Yeah, you were telling me earlier, just the early pick 5 at Gulfstream today paid what was it?
73,000, 78,000. Yeah, not bad.
No, you had a 33-1 shot in the last, but then you had a 6-1 that opened it up that one gets where you had a 9-5 that one that there was an easy to use and find 3-1 that won race number 4. I can't believe you couldn't have hit that if you didn't have Warlord cruising in race number 4, Doc. But
yeah, how would you miss that one?
I'll hit 33-1 shots, but a 3-1 that was my top pick in the race. Sure, he couldn't.
He should have messaged you. Could have gotten the top pick there.
And speaking of big pick 5, a couple bombs. This guy next to me here, he had a 16 grand plus pick 5 last Saturday. Was it at Gulfstream?
Last Saturday it paid. So it was a weird situation. So live to the last 3 of the 6 horses, right? And one of them, the 2 paid 20,000, the 9 paid 11,000, and they ended up dead heating. The 2 just caught the 9 right at the wire, so it paid 7,000, had it twice, then had the pick 4 twice, so $16,000 early sequence there at Gulfstream last Friday. Had a couple people who played the bombs and hit on Sunday as well. I did not have one of the horses, but I had a single that won, and I had a 15-1 shot that won the first race. So a couple people messaged me about that as well. So Gulfstream's been great outside of the bullshit that's going on in the racing world. The actual on-track performance has been pretty good the last couple weeks.
Well, let's get into the on-track performance. It's going to be races 10 and 11 at Gulfstream on Saturday, January 18th, and then it's races 7, 9, and 11 at Santa Anita. 4 of these are stakes races. The other one that's not a stakes might as well be because of the talent that's in that. So let's see what we got together. It's the dollar coast-to-coast pick 5 sequence, 15% takeout, full pool paid out, no consos, no carryovers, and it's Saturday, January 18th. Let's do it, buddy. Rise up. All right, let's kick things off with the first leg. Race 10 at Gulfstream Park. It's a 6 furlong dirt sprint for 10 older fillies and mares. And I'm on race 11 at the N1X allowance optional claiming level. Where'd you go on top in this one?
Wow, DRF? Where did this come from?
I ran out of shits to give already.
Just out of nowhere, he throws the DRF up. I love it.
The fun part is you're going to see my comments that I make on trip notes randomly on horses, so you'll get to see what my funny notes are to myself anyway.
You also just completely gave up your picks there. We see 1 through 4, 1, 2, 3, and top.
Yeah.
Poor 3 horse, just catching shade, doing nothing wrong. My top pick, not listed up there. Luckily, not in the toss spot, but not listed up there in any of your top 3. I'm going to go with the 2 horse here, 10-1, a Broderie for Fernando Abreu. Look, I'm rusty, man. Dylan Davis aboard here. This is a horse that was at Gulfstream Park February, March last year, got 2 wins there after debuting on the synthetic and breaking the maiden there in a weird spot, or not the maiden, but running second there. Runs against State Bred Company twice, gets 2 wins with Jose Ortiz aboard, goes up north to New York, runs at Backwood, runs into Midtown Lights, very good horse up there, Rosario aboard, then runs into Ways and Means, who I think we all know very well. Full Rosario this horse too. If you go back and you watch that, was the 8 of 9 post going 6 for, or I'm sorry, it was the 5 of 8 post, and was just basically 4 wide the entire race at Saratoga going a mile, which is absolutely not what you want to do in that spot. And after that, tries the turf at Backwood, doesn't run that great there. Saratoga N1X allowances, very, very difficult races. Much easier here competing in the $25,000 N1X level. And if you go back and you look at what we were able to do at Gulfstream and even what we built up in Aqueduct, this horse fits at this level. But because we've got mile race, 6 furlongs way above your head at Saratoga, which, by the way, Pratt found a reason to ride a 30-1 shot, which tells you that this horse has some talent, and then runs on turf. This horse fits with the rest of this field at a much better price than the majority of the field. You just got to cross off a few races and get back to Gulfstream. Clearly, this is the favorite track for this horse. 3 times at Gulfstream, 2 wins and a 3rd place. A win and a 3rd here at this distance as well. I think Broderie at 10-1 is awfully live for Fernando Abreu in this spot. So we'll go with the 2 Broderie on top.
How about how good Dylan Davis has been, too, since he came to Gulfstream? He ended Aqueduct as the leading rider. And you're like, okay, well, it's Aqueduct as they're approaching the wintertime, no turf racing. And he came down to Gulfstream, which is the toughest jockey colony anywhere right now. And he's 20%. I mean, he's winning with prices all over the place. I didn't use this one, but I thought she outlined a really great case for her. The layoff was the biggest concern for me. I wanted to watch one. But if you watch one, you also might not get 10-1 on her next time. So this might be the time to really load up on the 2 horse there. Well, I accidentally spoiled it. By the way, my picks, when you see first, second, third toss, that's just my top 4. I can't change the fact that DRF calls it toss. I have the 3 horse listed at 4th in that spot. But I went with the 2 Safi Joseph horses. I just went too deep here, 9 and 10. I put the 9 Art Disaster over the 10 here. It's 1 of 2 for Safi, like I mentioned. And you're 1/3 off the layoff, which is a good sign here. So we should have a peak performance. Coming out of 7 furlong races, even though 2 of the 3 wins, they were both at 6 furlongs. Coming out of a 7 furlong race. So I think with the speed this horse has and the amount of speed that's in there, that's going to give her a stamina boost. And Nick Style, the horse that won that stakes race last time out, is a grade 2 placed horse. So a really good runner to finish second to. Really just made that horse go all out and just kind of weakened a little bit there. Is going to get back on Lasix here as well, which can only help her. And Tyler Gaffalione, he's back aboard. He rode her once. It was a 2 1/4 length victory in the slop at Churchill Downs, going 6 furlongs. It's interesting, the 9 and the 10. I'll talk about the 10 next, because you have 2 for Safi. He usually goes to Zayas as his main rider, right? Zayas rode the 9 horse twice, has never ridden the 10. Gaffalione rode the 9 horse once, has ridden the 10 twice. Yet T-Gaff is on the 9, Zayas is on the 10. And the 10's a horse that's going to love a pace meltdown, right? You've got a lot of horses with speed that are probably speeding quick, going 6. But you look at the workout pattern. She worked on December 21st, a series of a couple good 3 furlong works, and then she misses a few weeks, and then she has 1 work, and Safi enters her here. I almost left the 10 off, Mike, because I thought, man, that gap in the works, she hasn't run since October. I was a little worried she wasn't going to come into this ready to go, but then you see that last work and it's 47 and 2. It's like, all right, she's probably ready to go.
Yeah, similar concerns on the 10 with the work pattern, but I overlooked it, and you mentioned the main reason why. You would love a pace meltdown. Well, one of the reasons I like the 2, one of the reasons I like the 10, oh boy, we got a fast Gulfstream Park race here. And the reason I didn't use the 9, there is a ton of speed signed on in this place. Our Disaster, one of those horses that looks like a dead gate wire. You mentioned Nick Style she lost to at Tampa last time out. Nick Style, phenomenal Tampa horse. This horse dominates those state bred races at Tampa, so no shame at all running second to Nick Style there. But it feels like there is a lot more pace signed on in this spot as well. You've got horses to the inside that are very fast. Personal Choice, the 5, I think is going to 100% go. You have Julie's Legacy there, the 3. That's another send horse. I'm not sure. I don't think Our Disaster can clear. And I think that's my biggest issue with Our Disaster, because it feels like if the 9 clears, definitely 100% one of the main contenders in this race. If the 9 can't clear, all of a sudden you're 2 or 3 wide in a pace duel, then I've got some concerns around that. And I think that sets it up for horses like the 2 Broderie and the 9 Walalea, who both have shown that they can come from off the pace at Gulfstream Park to be able to score. The Zayas factor did actually make a difference for me when I was looking at these 2, because the 9 would have been my next horse on had I not used the 6 horse we'll talk about in a second here as my 3rd horse on. I thought the 9 and the 7. Adios Babe, by the way, loves this track. 5-1 was too short of a price, though. I was hoping that was like 15-1, and then I'd be a little more interested. But the pace is really the main issue. Of the speed, I went to the 6 Cruise to Catalina as the horse that I want to use here. We have talked about Cherie DeVoe a bunch on here. Riley Mott, a much better known name, I would say, but another trainer where it's kind of leave off at your own cost in a lot of spaces. He's been phenomenal with what I would call is like middling stock so far. Alvarado, much like his dad, or I think it's his dad, Riley Mott's Bill Mott's son, right?
Yes. Yep.
I didn't know it was son or nephew. Anyway, but yeah, when his dad goes to Alvarado, that's his go-to rider. We've seen similar things from Riley Mott as well. When Alvarado rides by himself, he's 18%. Riley Mott, 17% trainer through the last year and a month. You put 2 together, they're 26% with a $2.27 return on investment across all bets. Pretty good. And this one is interesting to me because I mentioned how tough some of those races up in New York can be. was in the tough races at Saratoga, both in July and August, ran it Backwood after that, was able to win. That was all state bred. So we're going from New York state bred to open company down in Florida, but the purses are actually getting smaller by making that move as well. So I still respect the class that Cruz de Catalina was facing. And I like the fact that we saw 3 back at Saratoga going 6 furlongs in a $95,000 first time against winners. This horse is off the pace, makes a run, ends up finishing second. And then the last 2 wins was not in the lead at the first call in either of those races, was second in both those spots and able to make the move. Cruz de Catalina should get a very good trip. I actually think Cruz de Catalina and Broderie both going to be right behind that trio of leaders up front. And Cruz de Catalina, to me, has proven that she doesn't need the lead, that she can sit there and then be able to make that first move. So I'm going to try and go 2-6-10 to get out of this first one.
This really could be a stakes race with the talent that's in there. I respect the hell out of the 6 and the points you made. I was going to, another one, I was like, the layoff, the concern, I'll let this one beat me. Try it, it might end up beating me here, but it has got a lot of talent. And Catalina Cruiser, when he very first started as a stallion, his horses weren't running, but they're starting to come into form a little bit and starting to see them start to pop. So you could see the 6 rather, Cruz de Catalina do better. Next race is going to stay at Gulfstream Park. We're going to go to race number 11 now, and this is a maiden special weight going a mile and a 16th on the grass course. A full field of maiden 3-year-olds and 4 also eligibles. And you've got big names in here that you'd expect. You've got Pletcher, you've got Weaver, you've got Walsh, you got Chad Brown. Where did you go on top?
I went 3 deep here, and the last horse in this race was my last horse overall on the ticket. I went with the 5 horse here, Spirit of the Law for Barclay Tagg and Joe Bravo on top, 6-1. Get used to not having favorite on top in these races, because it's going to be a common theme here. 6-1 on top. This is a horse that ran 3 times on dirt in state bred maiden special weights up in New York and was bet the first 2 races, which is kind of weird because Barclay Tagg horses don't usually get bet early in their career. Runs the 3rd race, doesn't really get bet in that race, doesn't run too much. They added blinkers that day. They leave the blinkers on, which I thought was interesting because the horse kind of got a little bit too far up after having a tough break, and come back and run on synthetic. And this horse is bred for grass, which is ironic to me. Like when you look at top and bottom, all this horse wants is grass. And here we are in the 5th start, and it's the first time that we are touching grass. We've talked about how that synthetic breeding can often, or the grass breeding can show up on synthetic. Well, it sure looked like it showed up last time when you go 2 turns for the first time, synthetic for the first time. Breaking out of the 9 of 10 post, which is not exactly an easy post to navigate from, was 4 wide on both turns, still ran the best last out buyer of this group, was closing late, ends up running second. I think the grass is a huge step forward. I think the post is a huge step forward. I think second time 2 turns is an opportunity to take a step forward here. So there's a lot to like about Spirit of the Law, who's 6-1 on the morning line. And you have the favorites on the outside. Those are very tough posts to win here at Gulfstream Park. And you don't have anyone that is really a world beater in here. So this feels like you could have a horse that jumps up, able to take it at a decent price. I'll start that out with the 5 horse Spirit of the Law. Did you use the 5?
It's 4th horse for me, and I went 3 deep. I went back and forth between that horse and the one that ultimately made my ticket there. And all the great points that you made there. Excuse me, it's Tiz the Law, who's not going to get enough love as a sire because his horses overall are winning 21%. His horses, when they're age 3, are 44%. His horses on turf routing are 24%, 7 for 29. But he can win turf sprinting. He can win dirt sprinting. This horse is like, as amazing as Tiz the Law was on the track, nobody's given him the love that he deserves in the breeding shed because of how well his progeny are doing. I didn't end up using this horse. I'll talk about in a second why. I think it was the price because I did use those 2 horses you're talking about on the outside. King of Ashes, the 11 horses, 4-1. Brendan Walsh trains, Tyler Gaffley on the board. You know, if you listen to this show, it's been a while, but I'm going to use T. Gaff and Brendan Walsh.
Real quick, yeah. Can we get some like love for Tiz the Law, who probably should have won the Triple Crown? Like if it weren't for COVID, Tiz the Law wins the Triple Crown, right?
Yes.
I mean, because Authentic, who
and maybe Manny Franco. If it wasn't for the COVID and Manny Franco,
yeah, that 1-2 punch, the flu and Manny Franco. We just needed that to be the last race of the day. They put these races after the Derby and completely kill our shot at the Triple Crown there. By the way, too, you did a great job talking up Tiz the Law. First time turfers, 7 for 24 for Tiz the Law. Not bad. Anyway, sorry, go for it. I love Tiz the Law. He's special place in both of our hearts. Should have won the Triple Crown. We should have. Did we win that season? I don't think we did.
No,
we should have won that Triple Crown, that Racing Dudes fantasy season. And we were like, COVID came for us, took away our crown.
Aaron won because he had Authentic. Authentic won the Derby, and because Preakness was so late, it was right before the Classic. Barclay Tag said, we're going to wait and we're going to go to the Classic, which was the smart move overall, but that's what killed us because Authentic was second in the Preakness, and that gave Aaron enough points to beat us. Anyways, not going to touch that anymore. The 11, King of Ashes here, which is going to be a lot of people out here in Southern California, but this horse debuts on the dirt, going 7 furlongs. That's a big sign. 7 furlongs means, hey, this horse is going to want 2 turns. It's a troubled trip early on, but the winner, Uncle Jim, that's a Derby Trail hopeful, so a good horse to lose to on debut. Second time out, goes to the synthetic, goes 2 turns, rallies to finish second, beaten a half length. He's a half length away from not even qualifying for this race here. And now he's going to get onto the turf, which is a 235 ROI move and 21% for Brendan Walsh. I think this horse is, despite the post, he's not a horse that needs to be forwardly placed. So I think he'll be able to sit back, make that big move that he showed on the synthetic, and he's bred to handle it. And as far as the 12 goes, Constitution Road was a horse that debuted at Aqueduct, and you go, well, it's Chad Brown, Flavian Pratt 6-1. How good was he? He was the second betting choice at 6-1. The problem was there was an even money horse for Chad Brown that had Irad aboard with the Kalleward Silks named High Beta, who beat him by 2 lengths. So Chad Brown went 1-2 in that race. High Beta was the favorite. I think a really strong effort from Constitution Road. He's going to have to work out the trip from the outside, though, and it's Irad. You know, Irad loves to show off his finishing skills, so he'll pull the horse all the way back and then, play, ping pong off the horses in the stretch to get the win. So I went 11-12, but they're short prices. The posts aren't doing them any favors, so I can understand if you're against them.
The 12 was the last horse on the ticket for me. Last horse on the race, last horse on the ticket. You mentioned that race. The 6-1, like you said, it's kind of a little bit of a falsity because, like you said, you had a heavily favored Chad Brown horse in that race. I also want to note the time. They went 1:13-2 to 6 furlongs. They went 1:43-2 to finish the race. So they finished the race at running 12s the rest of the way out. And this horse was closing even after being 4 wide around that second turn. So I think the 12 has a big shot of running another big race here. I don't love the post, but I do trust the connections to be able to get it going. And because, like I said, I've got prices pretty much every leg of this thing. I don't want to get knocked out by Chad Brown and Irad Ortiz on a horse that I think needs the trip to win, but has a jockey more than capable of getting it. And if there is a world beater in this field, it is clearly Constitutional Road, right? Like if there is a very, very good horse, it's the one who's hung to the outside. Third horse in for me, I'm going to keep riding the Dylan Davis train here. Give me Golden Channel, the 7 horse, 10-1 on the morning line. George Weaver, we talked about him with first-timers before. Very, very good. We like to usually focus on the 2-year-old first-time starters, but he's also very good with these 3-year-olds. The one big knock, he is 0-for-19 in mile debuts. So I want to get that out of the way right away here. The distance here are mile or longer debuts. So that's an issue. But after that, it's pretty much all systems go here. This is an English Channel out of a Madladoro mare. That means you're bred for all kinds of turf, all kinds of distance. The works have been consistent. We saw this horse up at Saratoga, which means this was one of Weaver's better stock. Didn't end up making the debut. Ends up down here at Gulfstream to make the debut. 13% first-time turf, $2.78 ROI. 14% first-time starters, $2.52 ROI. These two are 2 for 4 so far at Gulfstream, so I don't dislike that at all. And this is just one of those where, again, I don't think there is a phenomenal horse in this field if it's not the 12, which means I'm looking at horses like a first-time starter to be able to try and take a piece. So I'll go with Golden Channel, the 7 horse here at 10-1. And this is also one where you've got, in the breeding, you've got multiple siblings who have done well going over a mile and add in stakes races. So we'll go, what is it? We'll go 5-7-12 here, second leg.
I'm going to change your name to Sarah. You're riding Dylan Davis like his wife. I'm going to go with the number 3 math tutor as my last pick in here. The 7 for me, Mike, is it's the first time starter angle. 0-for-19 for George Weaver when he debuts horses going a mile or longer. The breeding is okay, but it's not anything that stands out as far as first time starters goes. I think the 7 is absolutely going to be a turf route winner at some point. I just don't think it's going to be here. But the 3 math tutor, you talk about the breeding. This is the horse that absolutely should have been breeding or going 2 turns on the turf, because if you look at the breeding here, the dam, okay, so she was only 0 for 1, but there's a sibling named New Rome who was a dirt sprinter last year around this time, went to Jenna Antonucci's barn at Gulfstream Park. Out of the dirt sprint, she went turf route, the horse went gate to wire. Turf route, horse went gate to wire. Look through this field. I know we can't say anything about the first-time starters. There is no speed in this race, and this is the horse that was showing speed, going one turn, draws post 3. Edwin Gonzalez is more than capable jockey down there. I think this horse is very likely to steal it on the front end because I don't see where the pace is going to come from. So I'll ride with the 3 math tutor here, just on the stretch out and the fact that New Rome, the half sibling, did exactly what he's trying to do in this spot. Dirt sprint to turf route. See if he can get it done.
I don't hate it, especially the 21 to price. I think you are right. Probably your leader. I do think the horse right to the outside, Abundance, might have something to say about it. That was a first-time starter last time out. This will be second start, first-time turf. I think you see more speed out of Abundance than you did last time. The 3 should make the front if the 7 Golden Channel or the 4 Abundance don't show quite a bit of pace. So at 20 to 1 at Gulfstream on the lead on the turf, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna try and talk you off it at all. Pedlo, any love for the 8 here, Gallant Lad? I went back and forth on the 8. There were 2 damning things for me. The first one, this horse was 41 to 1 on debut, is 8 to 1 morning line here. It is also like the classic troubled trip that is evident when you watch the replay and is also evident on paper. This horse is going to get bet at 8 to 1, and a horse that was 41 to 1. Who is now going to be 8 to 1, and my guess goes off closer to 4 to 1 or 5 to 1. Just not a horse, especially in a dollar sequence, that I want to include unless I think that horse is just head and shoulders above the best. And I don't feel like Gallant Lad is that spot. What about you, Magic?
Same exact thing. It's going to get over bet here. And if you look at the top 2 finishers from that race, Gene and Jude, the winner, last of 7. That's first time versus winners, but still last of 7 after going gate to wire in that race. And then Oasis Prince ended up finishing 4th after being second, beating the length, came back, same condition, added Lasix, and had a worse result. So not a race that on paper right now is looking like a very strong one. I can understand what people are looking at, but the problem is, as you said, Mike, everybody can see that. And they can see pinch at the start, steady at the 8th pole. Okay, he's going to run better. Yeah, maybe. It's a big maybe.
It's tough. Like, trip handicapping is so interesting because the most valuable trip handicapping is the shit people don't see, right? Because it's like the obvious ones, like, oh, horse got cut off in the lane. Everyone notices that. But like, did you notice when the horse got cut off on the first turn or was behind a rank horse and that's what forced it back a length? That doesn't make the comments in DRF. That doesn't make the comments in time form. That can be the valuable one. With a Gallant Lad, this is one of those where like you can't miss it when you watch the race, and then and the comments call it out. And so those are often not as valuable as some of the others. And like if Gallant Lad, let's say, was I don't know, 5 to 2 and the second choice in that race, my opinion's different than 41 to 1 and then jumping down here to 8 to 1 in a spot where I think the horse is going to get that.
Yeah, I fully agree with you on that one. Let's move on. We're going to go to Santa Anita Park for the next 3 races here. And good news, if you miss one of the first 2 legs there in that Coast to Coast pick 5, you can run it back. The all turf pick 3 is going to be included in these last 3 races here at Santa Anita Park. It starts with race number 7, and it is the Sunshine Millions Filly and Mare Turf Sprint Stakes. This is a whole card that was redrawn after canceling last weekend. They moved all the Cal Cup Day races to Saturday. And in this race, 6.5 furlongs down the hillside turf course, 9 older fillies and mares. Our good friend Stay and Scam is back. But what did you do with her? Did you use her? Did you single her? Did you leave her off completely?
I used her sparingly here. So this was the second horse for me. But I did use Stay and Scam. This horse doesn't like to win, which is the real big problem with Stay and Scam. But you also like look at from a numbers perspective, from his talent perspective, should be included in this race. Like it has clearly one of the better overall sets of work. And it's not like the horse can't win. It's 2 for 5 at the distance, 3 wins at Santa Anita. You just would have liked to see some of those wins, I don't know, in the last 7 races where this horse is 1 for 7, the only win coming at a mile. And in those 7 races was favored 5 of the 7 times, multiple times at under even money, which that's where the real concern with Stay and Scam comes is like, A, what's the price and the win rate when you're at that price? Now, positives for Stay and Scam, the reason Stay and Scam ended up on the ticket. The 3 races prior to that, all going 6.5 at Santa Anita, all down the hill, 2 wins and a third where it just literally lost a photo by a nose. Maybe this is really what Stay and Scam is best at, is going down this hill. And so that's why she made my ticket, but not my top pick. For my top pick, I'm going to go to the 2-horse, Moment's Pleasure, who I am surprised is this much of a third choice. Now, third choice, but at 8-1, that's what jumped out to me. I was expecting this horse to be closer to, I don't know, 4-1, 3-1, somewhere in that range. Safa here, your second choice at 2-1. Moment's Pleasure has not sprinted for a long time. That's the one knock here. Did break the maiden going 6 furlongs flat, not down the hill at Santa Anita, and since then has not sprinted, but since then has won state bred stakes races multiple times, ran second another time. Is coming off a $50,000 open company allowance win, was in the grade 3 red carpet to back at Del Mar. That was going longer, so kind of an excuse there, but I thought she still didn't run poorly. This is one where getting back to that state bred level, I think, makes a ton of sense for her to be able to run big. The big question mark here is going to be the 6.5 furlongs, the down the hill. At 8-1, I'm willing to take that question, put her on the ticket. So the 2 on top for me here, Magic. What about you? Who is your top pick?
Well, it is the 7, but I want to go back to what I mentioned about this being redrawn and recarded from last week. So last weekend, Safa was not in this race, the 8-horse. Last weekend, this was race number 3 because Stay and Scam was 2-5 on the morning line. You talked about Moment's Pleasure. Like, why is she 8-1? Well, Safa's in here now at 2-1. Moment's Pleasure was 7-2 last weekend in this same race. All you did was add Safa and shuffle the deck a little bit, even though Moment's Pleasure, the 2, actually was drawn in post 2 last week as well. So you're getting, a much better price there. Stay and Scam will probably be close to 2-5 when she goes off. 6-5 is you're not getting that anywhere. The reason I'm using her, why I feel okay about it, is because I remember being on the desk at FanDuel for the California Distaff when she was the 90-cent favorite and lost going down the hill. And I was with Kurt Hoover, and we both had said, like, this filly, her last 2 races, has looked really tired. And if you look at her form, she hasn't had a break. I mean, there was from May to July, she had 2 months off, but that's because in June, there's no turf racing at Los Alamitos. They were waiting for Del Mar. So from May of 2023 to November 2024, she ran 17 times and never got a break. She needed a break. The question I have about her isn't anything related to what you said. It's, will she be the same horse coming back after the layout? Because now that she's actually had a chance to breathe and relax a little bit, and even that, it's only 2.5 months, will she come back the same? I don't know. I'm going to put her on the ticket, but I didn't single her in here for that reason. I didn't use the 8 Safa as a horse that ran on January 5th, which is why she wasn't entered in this race last week. But with the time off, she's got 2 wins in her last 3 starts. She's got a win going down the hillside, or actually not, it was a flat 6.5, but she's got a win on the turf course. So I get why she's taking attention. I went with the 4 Satellite Heart as my other horse in here. And this horse was 20-1 last week. Dettori was named to ride. He's at Fairgrounds riding on Saturday. So I guess we got to go with Flavien Prat, Mike. I don't know. I don't know if that's what kind of a
bummer
that is.
Oh, that's terrible.
But she, this is a horse that is in 3 turf starts at a mile. That's the key. Going a mile, she's got to win in 2 seconds, and one of those seconds was by a nose. 40K claimers at Del Mar, but I like to look for milers to have success for the first time going down the hill, because there's that early rush where everybody's going fast down the hill, and that when you come off the dirt, you really need to kind of kick into gear. And I think that this is a horse that's going to be ready to go. Her buyers, if you just single out her 3 turf mile buyers, you got 71, second by a nose, 73 against better, second, 75. She got the big win as 75 favorite. She's trending upward. She's going to have to keep trending upward with those buyers if she wants to have a say in things here, because your 2 horse, for example, who I have ranked 3rd, all of the 2's buyers beat the heck out of the 4. But we're getting Pratt aboard. She's trending upward. I'm going to give her a shot in her 4-year-old debut.
Yeah, I don't hate it. And I think people are going to look back to the 6 furlong effort at Santa Anita, the first time she was on turf sprinting. Like that is a complete draw the line through the race. Especially if you watch the actual race, like she breaks from the 1 post, which isn't great, especially going 6 at Santa Anita, because you got that dirt crossing thing going on, and not a wonderful spot for the horse. She also just like doesn't break it all, and then has to like just slam on the brake. So you don't really know what you can do at the 6.5 mark. So I don't hate the 4, and you get Pratt, who's your boy. I guess Rosario wasn't available. You get Pratt, who's your boy, to be able to jump on the.
He's at Gulfstream, remember? Oh wait, no, is he at Gulfstream?
Yeah, he's.
Does anybody know where he is?
I bet he's at Fairgrounds. I'll take Fairgrounds for mine.
Oh yeah, he'll be at Fairgrounds. You're right. Sorry.
She's probably going to just run some Asmussen into the rail and cost him the race. I'm going to go. So I don't hate your 4. I don't hate your 4 at all. Third horse on for me, 3 deep here. Give me the 5 horse Andiamo Ragazza. Peter Miller draws John Juan Hernandez. Usually not a bad thing when Ron Hernandez decides to ride your horse here. He's not been aboard this one before. But to me, this is all about, hey, let's just isolate the turf races, right? So the first effort, this horse is at Golden Gate, breaks its maiden going 5 furlongs on the turf for Tamao, sorry. Wins easily there, gets a pretty good buyer. Goes to Los Alamitos, runs on the dirt once, runs in a stakes at Del Mar, then gets back to the turf. So first time Peter Miller Turf Barn, goes 5 furlongs at Del Mar's turf, ends up winning the race coming from off the pace. They stretch this horse out to a mile and a 16th. That doesn't go so well. And then they go, you know what? Screw it. Let's jump in a $100,000 turf race going down the hill at Santa Anita against Grand Slam Smile, Big Summer, and Stay and Scam. And guess what? This horse ran pretty darn good. Actually just missed 2 Stay and Scam by a neck in that race at 50-1. Now we're getting back down the hill, back on turf after again trying on the dirt. To me, this horse fits in this field, especially if you think that Stay and Scam is not going to just blow the doors off here off the layoff. And you get 10-1, you get Hernandez, Peter Miller, one of those trainers that does very well down this hill. So I'll go with the 2, the 5, and the 7 here. You're just going 4-7?
Yeah, 4-7 because of the 7. And with you went more price hunting than I did, so I didn't want to go crazy deep in here. I listened last week. I thought that the 5 had a better chance than I think she does today, just with the 8 being in there. I'm worried a little bit she'll get overbet because of that 86 buyer, but also Stay and Scam's in here, and that's going to take the lion's share of the money. So maybe she won't get overbet anyway. I think that she's one that I'll wait and play her. I have to wait a long time. When they go back to Del Mar, she's 2 for 2 at that 5 furlong setup, right? She loves that the quick run to the wire there. So I'm worried 6.5. We'll see.
Let's quickly talk Safa in the winner's circle. What price would you need to bet the horse? 6-1, 5-1.
I was going to say 5-1. Yeah.
I mean, a lot. It would over double the 2-1 morning line, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I agree with you.
She's been good. The only time that she didn't run a good turf race, she's in 5 starts at one turn, got a win, 3 seconds and a third, and those 3 seconds were a neck, a half length, length and a quarter. She was third by a head in her turf debut, but none of those were down the hill. And that mile race, which I equate more to being like this than the flat 6.5 that she did, just trash, absolutely bad. I mean, she broke from post 9 going to Mount Del Mar, but still, she never picked up her feet. She just ran in place the whole time.
Yeah, she's also 3 for 12 on the dirt with 5 seconds. She's just 1 for 6 on the turf. She's got 3 seconds, so you got to give her credit for that. The last 3 of the last 4 races where she ran well, all with Lasix. The 4th race without, she ran poorly. No Lasix on today. Like, there are so many reasons why I'm just like, yeah, no, you can go ahead and beat me. Like, I'm happy to let you beat me here, Safa, especially at that 2-1 number. Also, by the way, has to run her career best on grass to beat this field, right?
Yeah. Yeah, lots of things stacking up against her there. 4th leg of the Coast to Coast, pick 5 on Saturday, January 18th. We're going to go to race 9 now at Santa Anita. It's the Unusual Heat Turf Classic Stakes. 11 older males routing a mile and 1/8 on the lawn. And the big question is, anybody going to be able to catch on the whim, on the rail? Lots of speed at 5-1. Where'd you go on top?
Yeah, this was so I closed it out 2x2 because of because I went 3x3x3 to open this up. Horse on top for me, the one favorite that I actually like, the 3-horse Old Pal here. Mark Lapp brings this one back. Mark Lappin, absolutely on fire. 6 for 20 at the current meet, but he was hot to end the Santa Anita meet prior to this as well. This is one that's just run really, really well. And you pretty much look at any distance, any type of going here, has consistently been a good runner. The last 3 against Open Company, I thought, ran well in all 3 of those spots. You go back to State Bred Company, when this horse wasn't quite as sharp as he is now, I thought ran well in those spots. The one knock is the Cal Dreamer. This is at Del Mar going a mile and 16th. Okay, but his Santa Anita races have all been very, very good. A mile and 1/8, 2 back, just ended up losing that day. Is going to need pace. To me, there's a lot of pace signed on. I mean, you mentioned on a whim, you're going to have Jimmy Blue Jeans, the 4 that's absolutely going to go. You've got Fast Buck that's got a bunch of early speed. You've got Takes 3 that wants to be forwardly placed. So this is a race where I think you're going to get a fast pace to chase. And because of that, I think the 3 Old Pal has every chance to be able to swoop the field.
I went 3 deep. absolutely used Old Pal for all the reasons that you mentioned there. Troubled third last out is the $2.90 favorite, but the runner-up, El Potente, came back and had a 93 buyer, winning an N2X, and that's good enough to win this race. That actually was one better than Old Pal's career best, which was the 92 in that spot. And he was a nose away from being 2 for 2 at this distance. He won the Snow Chief Stakes course and distance here in May of 2023. And then he was a nose away 2 back. So likes Santa Anita, likes the turf, the distance, all things are good about it. We agreed on 2 horses here. Let's talk about the other one. It's also the other Mark Glatt runner. It's our old friend, Alligator Cat.
Hey, buddy. What's going on? Welcome back.
Week, when I was handicapping this race last week, I saw him pop up and I texted Aaron with a bunch of obscenities. And I said, that mother effing Alligato is back again. It is a horse that specifically because on February 16th, he and I both thought this horse was going to dominate that mile and a quarter race, and lots of trip trouble. He was just kind of annoying and frustrating, and Pratt was trying to will him home. He gets third, beating a length, and then I sent favorite. And I was like, I'm never playing this horse again. And what happens next out? Well, then he wins. And I was like, this horse just, I want to rip into shreds there. But listen, it's Pratt riding for Glatt. You talk about how hot Glatt has been. Pratt equally is hot, and I'm not just talking about when he's fresh out of the shower. Alligato, absolutely going to use in here. Because of the other Glatt, you're actually going to get a decent price on him, 6-1 morning line. He's probably like 4-1 when he goes off. But he needs to make amends because last January, he was third beaten a half length in this race. 2 years ago in January, he was second beaten the neck in this race. Both times with Pratt at Boris. Like, if Pratt can't get this horse to win this race like he did in 2022, if he can't win this race again, you got to give up on the Alligator Cat.
Yeah, well, you never give up on alligator cats. I mean, that is just an interesting mixed breed, right? I mean, I'd love to see a cat with the alligator teeth and the nose and everything. It would be fun. Yeah, this horse is frustrating because I mean, we were right on that mile and a quarter race, and shit just went wrong. And unfortunately, that happens sometime in horse racing. Alligator Cat, Alligato makes his own trouble in a lot of spots. Yes. It is another dead closer, and that is the reason why like these could be really frustrating horses. You need to weave your way through the pack. You need to be able to get a hole. You need trip, and you need pace. Well, we've got pace, so we can check that box. So now it's all about trip and traffic. We've got Pratt, who is won with this horse, ran second and 2/3. So you know that he's able to get him through there. It's just whether or not we're going to be able to kick clear late. I like the prices 6-1. I talked about how hot Glatt has been 30% at the current meet. He was on fire at Santa Anita prior there. He had a good Del Mar meet when we were back there. Like, he has been good for a long time here. His barn's been sending everything out that fires. And the fact that Pratt takes them out kind of just finished off any misgivings I may have for the two of them team up 24% since the start of 2004 with a flat profit ROI. One concern for Alligato is the layoff. Well, Glatt's 22%, $2.20 ROI off the layoff. So not as much of a concern, especially for a veteran 8-year-old who just kind of keeps running well. Like, there is, you want to like say, oh, well, maybe this year this horse is going to take a step back. I don't really know why you'd think that, though. At this point, we've seen this horse run well, handle Santa Anita well, 3 wins in 15 starts, has hit the money 11 of those 13 starts at this distance, has 1 win in 5 starts, has hit the board every single time. I think Alligato is coming running, and we'll just see if we don't have the traffic trouble or not to get home. So I'm just 3-7 to try and get through here.
To touch on the layoff thing, if you look at December 28th, or again, remember, this race was supposed to happen last week. So back in December 28th, he went 58-4 over the synthetic. That was supposed to be his second to last work for this race. His last work for this race was supposed to be that one when he went 48-1 for 4 furlongs on the local synthetic training track. The work on just January 12th was literally like, well, we're not racing. Let's just get him another work there. So ignore the time. That was just to keep him on his toes. So the works are sharp. This horse could not be doing any better or in a better situation to come back from the layoff. But if you're concerned about it, I understand. All that to say, my top pick is going to be the one on the whim. And specifically because it is a Calbred turf route race here. First of all, Dean Peterson, the trainer, he's 3 for 3 to start the meet. That's pretty damn good. This horse versus Calbreds on the turf is 4 for 4. What are we doing today? We're going on the turf versus Calbreds. He's a horse that likes to be forwardly placed, doesn't need the lead, can win gate to wire. He did that back on January 26th last year, but he can win from well off the pace too. He did that going down the hill, 2 back in the California Flag. He did that into California Dreamin', breaking from the rail at Del Mar back in August. And he hasn't tried 9 furlongs. That might be the biggest question mark people will have with him. But look at his breeding. His sire, Acclamation, produces nothing but long-distance turf horses. Acclimate is his top horse he's produced. 4-time greatest stakes winner at 9 furlongs or longer. He was a horse that you would send to the front going long on turf, and they'd have to work their asses off to catch him. Sometimes they did. Sometimes he was good enough to win. King's River Knight, who won this race last year. That was another horse that when you stretched him out to 9 furlongs, there were question marks. You and I both tried to play against him in that race, and it bit us in the ass. King's River Knight won it. He's a great, damn good horse going 9 furlongs too. So I think this horse, 9 furlongs, not concerned about it. It's because we're facing Calbreds on the turf. He's 4 for 4. I think he goes 5 for 5.
If there weren't so much speed in here, I'd be more interested in on a whim or on the whim. I'm just worried that this is going to be one of those blowout paces. And like at 1 1/8 miles, that they go 23:46. Good night. Like it's just going to be very hard to get home. However, if I'm going to take any speed, it would be on the whim because of the draw. Like if he's shown he doesn't need the lead, so if he can sit back behind a couple leaders and be able to then wheel out, I think he's got a very good trip in him. And then it's just a question of the distance and the talent.
The last leg of the Coast to Coast Pick 5 here is going to be race number 11. And I thought, Mike, this was of all the races that we covered. Maybe the dirt race at Gulfstream was tough. This one, get your darts out and throw them at the dartboard. The Cal Cup Oaks was hard last week. It's hard again this week. 12 3-year-old fillies plus and also eligible, going a mile and a 16th here on the turf course. Would you go with on top?
I almost singled.
Whoa,
this
okay.
was. I almost singled here so I could add a couple more earlier. The dollar denomination means you have to take shots sometimes. I don't like the 10 Hey Jesse. And that immediately means, okay, I can look around a little bit. How about the 6? Take another card, 9-2 on the morning line. This is my top pick in this spot for Callahan and Barrios. This horse has only run once. It was at Santa Anita. Dettori took the ride, which Dettori and Callahan, interesting combo there. You don't see it all that often. I thought the horse was like awesome. And I don't think that the running line actually gives full credit to how good this horse was. Broke out of the 2 post, which is not an easy post, first-time starter. Doesn't break well on that flat 6 furlong, so has to go over the dirt. Didn't break great. Dettori, I thought, did a great job riding him and just kind of edged his way up, took control top of the lane, and then just kind of galloped away from these horses. I thought it was just a phenomenal debut for Take Another Card. You look up and down. I mentioned this in a previous race, a Gulfstream race 11. Like, there isn't a world beater in there. Sure doesn't feel like there's a world beater in here. This feels like a field where someone could jump up and be able to take this race. I agree with Pedlo here saying first time versus winners. I usually don't do that unless it's a turf sprint. That is the one place where I will do that. I don't think this field's very good. I think this is a bunch of horses that have traded back and forth wins against each other, some on dirt, some on turf. And you take a look at the 6, and this is a horse that wants to go 2 turns. I think wants the turf, has tactical speed, has showed that she can pass horses in her early career. I'll take a shot here. Give me the 6. Take Another Card on top, 9-2.
I went 3 deep, and that horse made the ticket. Love everything you mentioned about that. I think the horse is absolutely bred to go 2 turns. Dan was grade 3 placed, stakes placed, turf routing. And I'll have another. He won the Derby and the Preakness. So, yeah, he can produce horses that can run 2 turns as well.
Also, We the Hobby ran second in the Take Another Card. The phenomenal, like if you like sports card trading, hunch exacted there with the 6-7.
Take Another Card and We the Hobby. I like that. We the Hobby, by the way, is a 7 horse back in here. They had Pratt last out. It was going to get freezes aboard. Not terrible, but also not one that either of us are using there. The sire. Was a turf sprinter, a great turf sprinter. We're going a mile. I said a mile and 16th earlier. It's a mile, but still. Topic for me, I did use the 10. Hey, Jesse. They look at the race 2 back. The post isn't fantastic, but that race 2 back at Del Mar after she debuted going a route of ground at Santa Anita. She stays at a route of ground at Del Mar, picks up the win. She had a much more favorable post that day, right? Post 2 versus post 10. She's more of a forwardly placed horse, but she went against the track bias that is Los Alamitos and the speed there. And she won the Soviet Problem Stakes. Her buyers continue to improve. That win, the Soviet Problem, was the best buyer that she's had, 65. She got a 2-length victory, beat several horses in here, including another horse that Mike's going to use. We'll talk about in a second. Beat them very well in that spot. Kyle Frey, damn good rider. He's 1 for 30 at the meet. He'll turn that around. He had a fantastic summer at Del Mar between Mixto and Gold Phoenix. So I would put the 10 Hey Jesse on top, but the post and the morning line, I can understand you would want to take a shot against.
Yeah, my main reasoning is like, okay, so first off, the race 2 back, the win, pretty bad race. Like I realize less is more is in here, but less is more is 12-1 on the rail, and I was a career high buyer for less is more where she ran second, and that was a 57, like not good. And they crawled up front too, went 48-112, finished the mile in 138, so 26-second last quarter of a mile there for the 1 and the 10. Like that to me tells me, okay, these are like, are they stakes horses? Maybe at early 3-year-old
Kalleward,
like, you know, like, but that doesn't scare me, especially at a 5-2 price. And then you look at that, you mentioned the Los Alamitos race. Yes, came off it, was able to run down that group, was 16-1 that day. Now we're getting 5-2. Like that's a problem for me. The fact that like I don't know if it was the surface or if it was the field or what it was that horse was able to win or why that horse was able to win. They also did the mile in 139. So it's not like this horse was like, hey, I'm going to run a real breakup mile here. No, they ran another slow mile. And yeah, she closed into it, but like everyone was just dead tired. I mean, we talked about the Stumble Bunnies before. That was a Stumble Bunny race that she won. And so again, at 5, like she may be the best horse, but at 5-2 off winning at 14-1 with a Stumble Bunny mile on the turf, followed by a Stumble Bunny win at Los Alamitos, I'm good. No thanks. I will take a horse that was in that Stumble Bunny race that was behind her, though. Give me the 2-horse Tequila and Therapy, Magic. First off, I agree with all these comments. You may need some Tequila and Therapy. Pedlam, just click on you every time you're winning here. I also love Tequila, but that is not why we are taking Tequila and Therapy. This is just the most experienced horse. There's really no other, like, if you want to argue like class, I know some people love talking about class in horse racing. This is your classiest horse who is in this race. I'm not sure why we're so in love with the dirt. Won at 7 furlongs, going $176,000, and then was in that mile race at Los Alamitos the last 2 races. But let's go back and let's talk about her turf resume here. Debuted at 4.5 at Churchill. Don't worry about that. Came back Ellis Park, 5.5 on the turf. Ran okay. Goes back, breaks, runs well at the 5 furlong mark. Stretches out to a mile. And this is the only time we've seen this horse run a mile on the turf. Gets a 62 buyer, wins the race, and jumps into the grade 3 Surfer Girl off that. That 62 buyer going a mile is the best turf buyer anyone has in this field going a mile distance. I can point to a direct race where I'm like, that's good enough to be able to get the job done here. And we're getting 6-1 on Tequila and Therapy, specifically because we're sitting here with a horse that after that win didn't do well in the Surfer Girl. It was 25-1, came back, wins a race at 11-1, but then gets bet off the board. It was $2.50, 7-5. 5-2 last time out. I think this horse should still be the favorite in this field. I was surprised the 2 wasn't the favorite when I looked at the numbers. So I'm willing to take a shot with the 2, especially with the improved draw, because this was another one that drew, and she was, I believe, drawn outside and then redrew the inside post here. I think that's going to be a benefit for Tequila and Therapy here. Or is it the 5 that redrew, or 6 that redrew? I can't remember which one redrew inside.
Tequila and Therapy drew the rail last week.
Okay.
Great. It's kind of interesting. So the 10,
6,
Hey Jesse,
the 6 drew inside. Yeah, the 6 drew way outside last time, and then drew inside this time.
Yeah. The 6 was the one there because the 10 and the 9 and the 10 just each moved 1 post in. They were 10 and 11 last time. Listen, if this was a 50-cent denomination, I'd absolutely have this horse on the ticket because this was my 4th horse in. I like everything that you mentioned about it. They tried the Del Mar Golden State Juvenile Stakes on Breeders' Cup weekend, and they got the win. That's why they went back to the dirt and like, well, maybe we got a dirt stakes winner here. And 5-2 had the lead and just got gassed out there at Los Al. For those who don't know, Los Alamitos has the longest stretch in all of North America on dirt, longer than Belmont, longer than Fairgrounds. So, lots of horses when you watch it. Also, if you're watching Los Al, like they hit the quarter pole and you're like, they still have a quarter mile to go. Like every horse is going.
Yeah, they're exhausted.
It's for being a speed favoring quarter horse track, it's very tiring for horses that try to go 2 turns out there. The last one for me is going to be the 6 horse in here. Take another. Oh, wait, no, we talked about taking the card. I'm sorry. I forgot. 9. Grateful My Love. That's the one. 5-1. This is a horse that but is running 2 stakes races and actually almost beat Tequila and Therapy 2 back in Golden State Juvenile. Got second by a nose. Out of that effort, bettors went, oh, third off the layoff or third career start, going to 2 turns, the way she finished in that race. Let's make her the favorite in the Soviet Problem Stakes. And 8-5, yeah, she just picked up the pieces. I know that it shows that she gained, but we talked about how you brought it up, the stumble bunny effect of that race, just how slow they were coming home. 25-4 was the winning final time there. But here's why I like Grateful My Love. Flavia Pratt is riding for Michael McCarthy. When they're at Santa Anita together, they're 57%, 467 ROI. The breeding doesn't necessarily suggest that this is a horse.
Swing, tent pole.
Listen, it's the law. You can't leave Pratt off. Yes, tent pole. Sorry, you keep you keep trying to put car around to pick up there. Yes, I am a Flavia Pratt stan, but you know what? The guy is a damn good rider there, and he can take a 6% grass rock sire, Dancing Candy, and he can make this horse a stakes winner in her first win. It'll be here in this race. So I like the horse. Don't love the post, but I love that Pratt's taking them out. I mean, Johnny Velasquez rode this horse the first 2 starts. Juan Hernandez was aboard last out. Now Flavia Pratt's like upgrade. Here we go.
Yeah, upgrade for sure. Tempo type upgrade. This was my third horse on. I agree with a lot of what you were saying. And the riders I think are really interesting, like you said, with Velasquez riding first 2 races, and then you've got Hernandez decides to ride the third one. Now you've got Pratt. Dancing Candy should be a better turf sire, like top and bottom has turf pedigree, and somehow just has not been a very good turf sire. So one of those that you kind of like is a head scratcher, because Twirling Candy generally pretty good turf influence there. The price last time versus the price this time, I think, is a positive. Pratt's a positive. This is one where, like, if this was 50 cents, I'm probably including the 9 here, because I wouldn't mind spreading a little bit more if I don't try and really narrow this down between the 2 and the 6 here. So I don't dislike the use of the 9 at all. I'll really be interested to see I don't think these morning lines hold very well on race day. I think you're going to see
Anita? No.
I think you're going to see a lot of shuffling in these, and I wouldn't be shocked if for the 4th time in a row, Graceful My Love take some money here. Real quick, the 4th horse I had in, I didn't use this horse. I only went too deep. But want to shout out to Me So Fancy. Phenomenal name. Just really well-named horse. Me So Fancy there with the PH for the fancy and the miso soup spelling. So really like Me So Fancy. Was my 4th horse on. If I was going to go 4 deep, I'm not. But I'm a little interested in this one. I mentioned the best turf fire going a mile. Me So Fancy, back-to-back 63s, 2 sprints to a route. That's something I like to look at quite a bit. And this horse ran very well last time out. Just could not fit her on the ticket. Did you look at the 8 at all?
I did. With Paraconti as the sire, you would think that going a mile absolutely should be within the realm, because he did win the Breeders' Cup Turf Mile. So one that I think is a horse that'll win going 2 turns. I just think I think she needs like a Calbred allowance race once they get further down the road.
Yeah, we'll see what she does after this. But she was one that I looked at. Like I would be 100% against the 10 here. Like if you're playing, we've covered 3 of the 5 late pick 5 races. I wouldn't play the 10. I know Magic, you like the 10. I wouldn't play the 10 at all, even on a 50-cent pick 5 here. That's why I mentioned Me So Fancy. We should. Well, let's recap tickets, then I'm going to make you talk about another race. Okay.
Well, real quick, here's our tickets. If you're listening, we'll read them out. If you're watching us, thanks for joining us. Take a look down below. I'm going to go. Remember, these are dollar bases, by the way. 9-10 with 3-11-12 with 4-7 with 1-3-7 with 6-9 nice 10. $108 for me. We each went 3 by 3 by 3 by 2 by 2, just in different spots. And it's $108 tickets for both.
Yep. Me, dollar ticket here. 2-6-10 with 5-7-12 with 2-5-7 with 3-7 with 2-6, like Magic said. Mine's 108 as well with this dollar denomination. Remember, 15% takeout, guaranteed payout. So if no one hits 5 of 5, you're going to get paid out the full pool at 4 of 5. So it's a lot of reasons to like this pool outside of the sponsor.
So what you wanted to talk about another race? Was it the LeCompte?
Yeah, I figured we should at least talk about the LeCompte here. We are the I would say heavy favorites in the fantasy league. Like almost no doubt we're going to win it at this point. And we do have a horse, LeCompte.
It was probably not going to win anything, but he's going to show up in every damn race. And that's why we drafted him.
Yeah, he'll be there. He drew the rail and is going to try and go. So LeCompte, 12th race at Fairgrounds. I think we expect Smud, right? We should, like, at this point, should we?
Yeah.
We should say that.
Yeah, I think so. It's definitely going to be raining a lot in the morning in the days preceding it. So not going to be fast. It could be good at best, but probably more towards muddy.
Full field of 14 signed on. Looks like there is a just boatload of speed here. What did you make of this race? Who did you like, and any prices you thought were interesting?
Admiral. So first thing, I think Admiral Dennis will scratch because he's cross-entered Sunday in a allowance race for 3-year-olds, and I think that's an easier spot for him. He's also Brad Cox has Disco Time in here, who I think is a contender. Brad Cox had told Caleb Keller, I think it was Caleb. He told Caleb that was his best prospect for 2 into 3, but I don't know if I agree with that just because Patch Adams exists, and some people like John White think Patch Adams might win the Triple Crown. I think that Innovator is interesting because you're getting Jaime Torres aboard, and Torres was Seize the Grace pilot for Dwayne Lucas, and during that Triple Crown trail, Lucas was saying how much he loved using Torres because he listened. If he said, put the horse on the front end and let him go, Torres put the horse on the front end and let him go. It's crazy that a lot of jockeys would ignore a Hall of Fame trainer like Lucas when they say something like that, but Torres did it. So Innovator, I think, goes and probably is there for a piece. Built winning the Gun Runner Stakes. At first glance, I was like, okay, the Admiral Dennis fell and didn't run his race, and there's only 5 horses. But look at the fractions. Every split was faster for Built. And that last fraction to get home in Fairgrounds was like, holy shit, that was fast. So the post doesn't do him any favors, but I think if I was playing this, I'd probably throw Disco Time in there. I'd use Built defensively. I think Disco Time is my top pick, but I think that if you're looking for a price, Innovator could steal it. He almost beat Barnes, and we saw Barnes come back and win San Vicente.
Yeah, I think a big part of Innovator's chances are the horse right to the outside, Maximum Promise, right? And how much early pace pressure we see. Innovator been going shorter distances, Maximum Promise coming off a longer one. Both want the lead, both capable of going 22 and change. I think that's going to really determine whether or not Innovator has a shot. He's got to go. Lucas is going to tell Torres to go. Torres is going to go. So the question then is, how does the rest of the field react? Disco Time, I think, is the best horse in this field, but needs to work out a trip to be able to prove that. Price, how about Mo Better Than Good? Does this feel like a Kenny McPeak? This completely collapses because you have 3 horses that want the lead, and all of a sudden, 20-1 McPeak comes running by them all.
It would not shock me. This is such a big field that you've got to try and find someone at a price that can pop up there. He definitely could do it. Golden Afternoon, the 6th, is going to be the very first runner for Nick Vaccarezza, who's taken over the training from his father, Carlo, who is also a very successful restaurateur. Imagine having a successful restaurant business and training thoroughbred horses on the side for fun. That's
impressive.
It's very impressive. But he's going to try dirt for the first time. Lots of question marks. Dapper Moon was like a 1-30 favorite in his last race and barely beat Louisiana breds, but he could rebound. He's got Saez aboard. So, I'm sorry. Morales is aboard. Saez is on Tough Catch.
Yeah, and I think Tough Catch a little interesting too, but we'll have to be able to sit way off the pace. Calling Card right to the inside. We mentioned Dettori going to be there. This is the reason Dettori's there. That race 2 back was really impressive at Aqueduct, although it was against New York breds. Wasn't quite able to replicate it last time. Seemed like it got a little tired first time out against winners. We'll see if we can improve off that. Another one, the 7, that would benefit quite a bit if there is a pace meltdown.
You want to know a fun fact about Frankie Dettori being there to ride? Of all the tracks in North America where he has won, and it's almost every single one that's got like a major thoroughbred track, not counting Zia Park, sorry, Zia. He has never won at Fairgrounds. He's never won a single race at the Fairgrounds. So I think that changes. I mean, he's got plenty of mounts this weekend, but it could be on that horse. So keep an eye out for Frankie Dettori doing the flying leap in the winner's circle.
Well, he sure hopes it's not on this horse, because that would mean that he's winless through Friday and Saturday. And any chance we get turf racing?
I think that we get turf racing in the latter stages. So they've got. I remember. I'm going to pull up the full PPs.
6, 8, 10 are stakes. 3 is an allowance, which I think is probably going to be off.
Absolutely off. I think the 6 is the 5.5 furlong sprint. No balls is in that one too. Oh man, yeah. I don't know if no balls is going to make it to the races there. 6 maybe. I think 8 and 10 are on, but it's going to be like soft. I don't think it's going to be a very good turf course.
So we're saying over under 2.5 with the under minus 200.
Yeah.
It is a heck of a card here if we do stay on turf.
I love the Fairgrounds for this reason, because once a month, when it's LeCompte Day, when it's Risen Star Day, Louisiana Derby Day, all of these horses, like they race once a month and they're all in these groups. And it's like, okay, the horse that wins this time probably won't win that same setup next time because they're going to reshuffle how they drew. There's going to be new players coming in. It's fun if you really follow it, at least those big days, because you're seeing the same horses come back. But if you're really paying attention, you can get rewarded as a handicapper.
Also, shout out to Fairgrounds for not having a pick 5 and pick 4 every other race like they did last year on the big days, where it was like,
oh my gosh,
race 1, pick 5, race 2, pick 4, race 3, pick 5, race 4, pick 4. It's like, dude, I'm gonna go broke if I don't like run 8 straight winners together because there's so many freaking races. So there's only 3 pick 5s, 2, 3 pick 4s on the card. I appreciate that. Like, I like pick 5s, I like pick 4s. I don't need 500 of them on the same day, especially with all these overlapping races. Like, if you hit 1, you probably hit 3. Like, it's just that crazy when you have that many overlapping.
Man was going bombs away. Yeah, it's a fun race. And if you want full picks and analysis of the Fairgrounds races, they also have the Silver Bullet Day for the Oaks runners. And Kenny McPeak and Brian Hernandez have a horse they want to get back on track. You can check out Blinkers Off. That already happened this morning, along with Dudes Who Bet Sports. God, it's been so long, Mike. I forgot the name of the other show that we.
I know. There's so many shows to remember, Magic.
Speaking of shows, I will be leaving here in about half an hour, 20 minutes, to go down to the FanDuel TV studios. I'm on the desk with Sarge from 4:30 to 8, and thank the weather gods that Turfway Park is back racing. Because, Mike, let me tell you, having these night shifts on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday when there's no Turfway Park. And it's all harness racing and Australian harness racing. It's so hard for me to try and get excited to make it sound exciting to bet. So thankfully, Turfway Park is back. We've got Charlestown, Delta Downs, and Woodbine Mohawk. And I'm actually getting kind of decent with my harness picks as well. So I guess you gotta make hay when the sun's shining. How can people find you and see you on the VSiN channel?
Well, hoorah to that, Magic. I'm going to be on VSiN. I'm flying in tomorrow. We'll be on a numbers game tomorrow at 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern. Picks throughout the weekend. And then I will be on the Ready, Set, Bet, my show that I host with Matt Brown, 3 o'clock Pacific. Nope. 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern on Saturday, 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern on Sunday. Talking everything about the NFL. Also have articles up there on VSiN.com around the NFL, and there'll be a horse racing article covering LeCompte Day over at Fairgrounds as well Saturday. So make sure you check that out.
Boom! Lots of great stuff happening all over the world with us. So we appreciate everybody joining us. It was great to be back. I don't want to jinx myself because we're at the end of the show, and I haven't made a single mistake. So we'll see if I can hit the right button here as we sign off. But until next time, I'm Magic.
And Mike.
May all your bets be winning ones.
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.